So these days we hear a lot about mental health and the effects it has, especially with our military and first responder population. These men and women really risk their lives for us each and every day. But what's being done to help them when life gets a little too overwhelming? Well, today's guest will be sharing with us how we can help here on Weezy. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Weezy. I am so glad you're here with me today, and I think you are going to be just love my guest I'm going to have today, Rick Blaine, and he is going to tell us about his foundation, his nonprofit, and how him and his partner Eric help veterans and first responders with PSTD. Welcome, Rick. How are you today?
And well, yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm so glad to meet you. This is our first meeting, but I've heard about your nonprofit, and mental health is something that I take very seriously, and I want to help people be able to get it. And then I also have a little bit of a soft spot for our men and women who serve in the military and our first responders. And so when I heard about you and Eric's nonprofit, I wanted to go ahead and have you guys on and see if we could get raise some more awareness and maybe get you some funding. Uh,
Well, I appreciate you
so
having me on today.
so Rick, go ahead and tell us all about yourself.
Oh, goodness. Uh, that could be a long story. Um,
Well, okay. So how did you get involved with this?
well,
Some of your background.
I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania. Um, my best friend Eric and we have been best friends since we were 5, 6 years old. We did sports together. We went to school together. We were in scouts together. We both became Eagle Scouts together. Um, Consequently, we also both joined the Army together. Um,
Oh, wow.
Eric, Eric served in the 101st Airborne Division, and I served in the 82nd Airborne Division. Of course, the 82nd is better, and I'm only saying that because Eric's not here with me today. Uh, but yeah, I have a long history myself with the military. Also, my family. It was kind of a borderline expected, not demanded, but expected that I join the military after high school. It's just a generational thing. Everybody in my family has done it. Um,
Carrying on the legacy.
yep, yep. I got out of the Army in 2006, and I began at that time, or shortly thereafter, I started working for the state of Pennsylvania as a corrections officer.
Okay. So what
Hmm.
did you do in the army? What
Uh,
was
I, w- I was a airborne chaplain assistant
so
for
you
6
jumped and
years.
prayed.
Yes, yes, I did. Those two went hand in hand. Yep.
Hold on, we're
Uh-huh.
going for a ride. Thank you, Jesus.
Yep.
um, so um, looking at your website, you speak very candidly about PSTD and some of the struggles that you had, and how did you come about getting help for it?
Well, with post-traumatic stress, after I got out of the army, I was, we'll call it okay, for a couple of years. After I started working with Department of Corrections as a corrections officer, some of the signs and symptoms of post-traumatic stress started coming out. Um, Eric, about the same time, we struggled with a lot of that together.
Could
Uh,
could you tell us just maybe like three or four signs that show up for if somebody's experiencing it?
oh well, there's a lot. and everybody can experience it in different ways. Most often, anxiety and depression are two of the largest indicators. Um, Reclusivity can be one. A lot of guys struggle with anger issues or rage issues. But there's a lot of symptoms or a lot of ways that it can present itself.
Yeah. So if people want more information, they can just like Google, probably find it Googling it online.
Oh yeah, you could Google PTSD and certainly there will give you a lot of the symptoms and signs thereof.
When did you and Eric start working together to bring more awareness to this and to be able to help others struggling with this?
Well, he and I, both separately and together for almost 2 decades, we struggled a lot with post traumatic stress. We tried to help each other. Retrospectively, it was probably in some unhealthy ways. Uh, he and I found the bottom of quite a few whiskey bottles.
Uh,
Um, we certainly self-medicated and did all of the things that you think is taking the edge off or helping with the stress or the anxiety, but in the long run, it just contributes or adds more to it. Um, we had both tried the name a medication, and it was prescribed to me by the VA. I had tried EMDR therapy. I believe Eric tried that also. Um,
what's that?
Rapid eye movement. It's actually a very not. I think it's less than 10 years old. Um,
Okay.
but there is good science behind it. It is helpful to some people that try it. Um, I've done talk therapy, which is also helpful and beneficial to some people. That's very difficult, though, for veterans going through talk therapy because you want to be able to share your experience or what you're struggling with someone that can empathize. So if you're speaking with a counselor or a therapist that's never had any combat experience, it's difficult to really open up and talk about the things that you're struggling with. Um, Eric and I tried a lot of different things. It wasn't until I think about 3 years ago, 3 or 4, yeah, a little over 3 years ago, uh, Eric was in a difficult season in his life, as was I. I found myself, unfortunately, fortunately, looking back, um, going through a difficult divorce and all of the drama and everything that goes along with that. Um, and he found an organization called the Boulder Crest Foundation in Bluemont, Virginia, and they teach something called the Warrior Path program. It is uh, it's a process called post-traumatic growth is mainly what they teach, but it encompasses a lot of self-regulation and wellness practices. He went through it, tried to get me to go through it, and I told him, "You can be the guinea pig on this one." And we had tried
You
so
weren't
many
going to
other.
go with him this time, huh?
I
Together.
was not. I was not. I was kind of at the point in my life where I was hopeful that things would get better, but it just wasn't in the cards for me at that point. Uh, but yeah, I told him that this is all you, buddy, and you let me know how it goes. And I picked him up from the airport. It was a week-long program. I picked him up from the airport. He flew back in, and just I saw a smile on his face that I had not seen in 2 decades.
Oh, wow.
Um, so it was an immediate change. So over the course of the following week, he definitely convinced me that this is something that I should at least attempt to do. And I called the director down there, and I got a slot for a class, and I went through. I was actually supposed to go through the course. I think about 2 weeks after he did, but it was right around the time COVID was really rearing up. So
Mhm.
my class got canceled and postponed, and then postponed again. And I think it was about 6 months later that I finally got to go through the program. But that was really, he's not here, but I'm pretty sure I could speak for him. That was really the turning point for he and I as far as how we approached post-traumatic stress. Uh, for so many, especially veterans and first responders, it becomes an assumption that this is just the way life is now. Because of our past experience and what we've done
Hmm.
and what we've gone through. This is just the way we get to be now, and that's period in the end. Uh, Now I know, and I strongly believe that those that struggle, really struggle, possess a greater potential of living a happy, healthy, productive, purpose-filled, meaningful life because of their struggle.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
Living
was
through
really,
and
yeah, yeah. And you get to take what you not only learned but recovered from, and you get to share that and teach other people the process that you walked to get through it. And it doesn't matter what branch of service you were in or what unit you served in. It's kind of an unwritten creed that you leave no man behind. And this is just another way we get to continue to fulfill that motto, because we
that's
have
awesome.
so many veterans that they've been home for 15, 20 years. I've had opportunities in the past year or so to speak with Vietnam and Korean War veterans that have been
Wow.
home for decades but have never really truly felt home. So it's really something that I am grateful that I get to do now, is share what I've learned, share my experience and the ways that I've grown. Uh, it's amazing to sit down and talk with an 81, 82-year old Vietnam veteran, and the wisdom that gets tossed back and forth. Uh, I love it. I love
Wow. That is awesome that you can give
it.
these people a safe place in which they know they're being heard, they know they're being
Hmm.
respected, and they know they're being hugely understood.
Yep,
That is a real gift. That is a
it
real
is.
gift. So what is the name of the nonprofit that you and Eric started?
Uh, it is Heroes Hearthstone.
And how did you come up with that name?
Uh, Eric and I, we have done this work for a number of years now. Um, when we decided that we were going to transition and branch off on our own, that became about a month-long conversation of what are we going to call ourselves. Uh, there's certainly quite a few names that ended up in the trash bin, and we'd come up with some, and oh, this is phenomenal. And then you do a search to double check and make sure it's not copyrighted or trademarked by someone else, and sure enough, somebody else has it. Uh, but we were actually sitting on Eric's back porch one night and just having this dialogue and conversation about what's the direction and what are we going to name ourselves. And Eric was the one that actually said, "What about Heroes Hearthstone?" Sorry, I've got a buddy here.
Hi, buddy. Mine are all downstairs. I have four. So
uh,
so all dogs are welcome.
uh-huh. But yeah, Eric's actually the one that came up with the name Heroes Hearthstone, and we were trying to figure out something that we could incorporate the name hero, because that kind of
Mhm.
encompasses both veterans and first responders. We do a lot of work with our local EMTs, fire and police. Um, he said the words Heroes Hearthstone, and my ears perked up, and his wife was sitting right there. We all looked at each other and said, "Yep, that's it." And after talking about it more, a place that's pretty close to us is Ricketts Glen State Park, and it's part of uh, Red Rock Mountain. There's almost 120,000 acres of state game land and untold miles of hiking and biking trails. Uh, if you walk far enough, deep enough back into the woods, you'll find multiple homesteads uh, that ceased being in existence probably pushing 150 years ago. But you can still see this great big chimney with a mantle and the fireplace sitting on top of a great big hearthstone. And the symbolism that we like to use with the Heroes Hearthstone is, God forbid when your home catches fire or something happens and it's reduced to ruin, 9 times out of 10, that thing that remains is that hearthstone, that fireplace, that mantle. And that's the place really that, it's the gathering place in a home. It's where people come to fellowship and community is built and spending time with one another. But it's also that kind of phoenix rising from the ashes. And it's the place that we begin to rebuild. And that goes along with, most of the veterans and the first responders that we get to work with is more often than not, when they're coming to us from that place of my house just burnt down. I'm not in a good place and I need to start rebuilding.
Yeah, and that I would think that phrase "my house burnt down" could come in many different ways, from
Hmm.
literal to
Yeah.
psychological
Yep.
to just life has crumbled or
Yep.
crumbling to pieces.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Um, so you said that you serve military and first responders.
Hmm.
So what are some of the outreach reach opportunities do you provide to these people?
Well, our emphasis is part of the process of post traumatic growth. Our emphasis is self regulation and wellness practices. Um, Eric and I are both meditation instructors. We also teach breath work, breathing exercises. We are, believe it or not, both of us working towards becoming yoga instructors. That
Okay.
is something I never thought I would add to my repertoire. And I figure if and what will not if when that does happen and we get the certification, we're going to call it Dad Bod Yoga because that's precisely what it's going to be. Uh,
I love it.
but we teach a lot of wellness practices because in order for us to really reflect back and walk back through our trauma and the things that we struggle with, we need to be in the best mindset possible to do that. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be in the right mindset to be able to do that. So we do teach yoga, we teach breathing exercises. We do as much as we possibly can, reconnecting people to the outdoors, going for hikes. Um, Actually, I just started working on a ruckathon that we're hopefully going to do this fall. Um,
What's
I
that?
think that's it's a fundraising event, but it's also something that we really get to showcase what we do and how we do what we do. So bringing in people, we'll have to bring in someone to teach yoga, but having areas set up that people can learn about breathing and learn about meditation and learn why these things and how these things are integral to really living a happy, healthy, productive life. Um, I think one of my favorite things that we do is we have a monthly event. We call it our Campfire and Coffee, and that's open to all local combat veterans, all local first responders. Uh, we get together at a place called the Bench Project. It's right in Dallas, Pennsylvania. We partnered with them for this event because their their purpose and their vision really closely mirrors our own. They have a I know it's an over 100-acre property, and they have 3 miles of hiking trails uh, worked into it with I don't want to quote, but it's 20 some different benches along the trails with gratitude journals attached to each bench. So you can go and you can hike their trails and take a time to reflect at each bench and write down what it is that you're thinking about processing or just what you're grateful for. So we partnered with them for this event because that's something that's near and dear to our hearts, along with the meditation and breath work. One of the biggest things that we really encourage guys and gals to do is yeah, gratitude and gratitude journaling. Um,
Hmm.
but our Campfire and Coffee event is something that I absolutely love doing, and that's we normally go and we'll teach a very brief, I don't even want to call it a class. We have a conversation about something. For example, we'll have a conversation about gratitude and gratitude journaling and how to incorporate that into your life and why it's important. And it's incredible when you have these conversations with uh, we'll call it hard individuals that, talking to them about, we're going to be vulnerable today and we're going to talk about the things that we're
Mm.
grateful for. And you get the Vietnam veteran with the 19-year-old police officer that they're all struggling with the same things. So to see the interactions there is really something fun for me to just sit back and experience and watch.
Well, this is fabulous, and God bless you for and Eric for forming this. If somebody wanted to submit a donation, I'm sure you'll take donations from anywhere. Is there, how can people donate?
Uh, if you go right on to our website, www.heroshearthstone.com, we've got a donate button right there. That is, I'm sure if you've had any other nonprofit on your show, that is kind of the biggest thing that we struggle with is raising the funds to do the mission that we're called to do. Um, we have certainly gotten really good at making a penny stretch. Uh, if you are local to Northeast Pennsylvania, something else that we also collect and are always in need of is food. That's actually another outreach thing that we do. We work with a local veteran homeless shelter, and we also work with our local fire EMS police, yeah, EMS police officers, our local first responders, and anybody that is food insecure that needs just a little bit of help every now and again.
Hmm.
That's something else that we do. Actually, in the last year, we've been able to facilitate almost 80,000 pounds of food to both the shelter and local families.
Wow, that's
But yeah,
fabulous.
funding is always the hard part. If I
Mm.
could skip that and just do the work, I'd be a happy camper.
Isn't that how it is for us all? I mean,
Yep,
we love what we do, but unfortunately, we have to have some funds to go behind it.
absolutely.
Um, so, Rick, I'm just so glad that we were able to come together and get some more information about you and how you and Eric started Heroes Hearthstone, this great nonprofit. And please, people come and go to their website and, every little dollar helps. So, uh, go ahead and give some donations to help these guys out to help these fellow veterans and first responders. So, Rick, it was just a pleasure to meet you and just to have this conversation with you. Thank you
Well,
for
thank you
coming
so much
on.
for having me. I really appreciate it.
You are quite welcome. Bye, everybody.
Take care.